you want either a digital copy or you want a print copy of the pictures that are taken tonight. And you have to fill them out and get them to Kathy Smith, and she'll take care of it from there. Okay? The forms are up at the table where you first came in. Okay? All right, super. All right, the first thing I want to do is to make sure that I thank everyone for coming tonight. Okay? I did not expect, I don't think the committee expected to have this number of people coming. Okay? We were all guessing at maybe 25 or 30. We have 55, is that correct? Yeah. I mean, for people up in our age and so on, to get 50 people together without all falling asleep is genius. It's genius. But basically, I really wanted to keep this very, very short. So I'm just going to go through a few bullet points and so on, and I'm actually going to try a little bit for audience participation. No one wants to be put on the spot. I don't want to be put on the spot. But I have one of my items here and so on where you'll be able to participate a little bit. I know a number of people wanted to come but were unable to come. And I got an email from Glenn Ronnerman yesterday. And he said, I plan to attend an extraordinary event for my great class of 1964. I'll never forget the great years of my alma mater, PJHS. I'm sorry I can't attend. My brother Barry was just diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and is not doing well. So I wanted not to leave town so I could spend some time with him. I'm sure our class will understand. Please give our great class my fondest regards, wishing everyone good health and continued success. Thanks, Patrick, Glenn Ronnerman, a proud member of the class of 1964. Okay, I'm going to try to list off a lot of or some of our classmates who came the greatest distance. And from my accounting and so on, which could very well be wrong, been wrong in the past, I have the following people. From what I can see, Tom Roberts came the furthest from San Diego. Also, Fred Bender came from Phoenix, Arizona. Al Morgenstern came from Michigan. Bert Ball was supposed to be here. I'm hoping he's here. He was supposed to come with his son from Chicago. Carl Karras came from Minnesota. Rich Dwyer and Pat Gutko Hartford came from Tennessee. Ronnie Schultz came from North Carolina. Sheila Connolly came from Wisconsin. Sue Frederick came from Delaware. And there's a long list of classmates who came from Florida. Okay? Too long to read right now. I also wanted to thank the reunion committee. This is an extremely thankless job, and we all do it because we kind of enjoy getting people together. So what I'd like to do is I'd just like to thank the individual members that culminated in tonight's event. Laura Kent Hunt. Laura. Sally Stucker, then Sowers. Kathy Smith Otel. Linda Van Horn. Ellen Bennett Galvin. Bill Bishop. Jack McAndrew. And myself. Okay, everyone on the committee also would like to extend our thanks to Bill Bishop. We had like 3 or 4 meetings during the year, and he had to make a 300-mile round trip to come down to each meeting. So I think that Bill earns a lot of credit from the reunion committee. Didn't expect that, did you? Okay. What I'd like to have right now is a moment of silence for classmates that we've lost over the years. You don't really have to stand up. I know probably you're tired from standing up right now, but just a moment of silence, okay, for the folks that we've lost. Thank you. What I'd like to do also is I'd just like to have the folks who served in the military just stand up. I really appreciate their service to our country. Okay, if you're a veteran, please. Thank you so much for your service. Okay, one other thing is we have at least 2 book authors that I'm aware of that are here tonight. Dave Shive and Judy Brady Smallwood have both written books. And are there any remarks from Judy or from Dave about your book?
It's great.
Nothing like humbleness. I like it. And Judy? Judy, you have anything to say about your book? Oh, you're not shy. No Irish lady is shy. Give me a break.
What's your book about?
Yeah, what is your book about, Judy? Okay, did you hear that?
Motorcycles for women only, and what is cheap?
Okay. And I think Dave was considering actually selling a couple of his books. I don't know whether we brought down a truckload of them or not. Okay, and basically it's about the Dutchville murder, is that correct? Okay, 1958. Okay. I want to ask also, is there anyone who is not getting my email newsletter? And, okay, I've got your email, Barbara, okay? You're all set. But the thing is that I really like to keep people informed about what's going on with the class. I kind of inherited this from Joe Nolan. Joe had Joe's tidbits or whatever, and then he said that there was a forcible takeover of his company by the McLaughlin Company. And he was gonna take care of the newsletter from there on out. But if you're not getting the newsletter and you want it, please let me know. I need your email address, and I'll add it to everyone else. I've got, I think it's 87 email addresses that I send my newsletter out to. Any questions about that? Okay. Now, I also want to say that I've discovered that I have connections with 2 people in our class that I really never knew. One of them is Peggy McAndrew wrote to me a while back and said that Paul was born in the same hospital that I was born in Jersey City, New Jersey. Okay, which I had no idea. The other is that Lou Sarno also moved from Jersey City to Fort Jervis, and he only lived 2 buildings away from my building in Jersey City. And since my mom was an RN at the Margaret Haig Hospital, which is an OBGYN hospital, it's entirely possible that she delivered both Paul and Lou. But anyway, oh yeah, one thing that I learned also only over the past 6 or 8 months is that I always knew John Fedorka as John Fedorka. But his name is not John. It's Roman. Roman John Fedorka. So if you never knew that before, you definitely know it now. And he made a point of that when I got in touch with him by email to make sure that he was called Roman and not John.
Can I?
Yes, absolutely.
And John wanted to be with us tonight, but he had already scheduled a trip to a third world country, and I can't remember the name, but Rick's been there, so he can tell us. Like you can tell? I don't know, but it's anyhow, it's at someplace way out where I would never go, and there's 7 people in his tour group, so just wanted to add that tidbit.
Thanks, Linda. Also, we talk about connections and connecting with people in our class and so on. I went to my wife's class reunion in 2015. She graduated in '65 with my younger brother Dave. And when I went to the reunion for the class of '65, we sat next to Chuck Beerline. His dad owned a liquor store in Port Jervis. You may or may not know that there was a liquor store there. But anyway, we started talking, and Chuck started to talk about his tour of New Zealand. And I guess they went to a touring center, and they were waiting for the tour guide to come down. And in walked Joanne Deserta from our class, who was the tour guide in New Zealand for Chuck Beerline and his wife. Also, I want to let you know, too, that I keep in touch with Gail Schultz, who is Phil's sister. And as you may or may not know, Phil has Alzheimer's. And he's in a nursing home in Manhattan. And currently, he's really nonverbal, but he does participate with the residents of that facility. And Gail sent me a little video of him playing ping pong. Now, probably Phil was one of the best tennis players I've ever met in high school, anyway. So I just wanted to just let you know about that. And I wanted to say as well that our class was really unique. And I keep saying this, but the thing is, I've spoken to other class, members of graduating classes from Port Jervis, and they don't keep anywhere near in touch with each other as we do. So I really feel good about that, and I'm really hoping that my newsletter kind of helps to keep that cement together. Just about done. Even is almost out.
Matt, is it my turn yet?
It will be
Okay.
shortly. Okay. The other thing that I was going to do is I was just going to talk about memories that I have from high school. Then I was going to see if anyone else would like to contribute just some of the memories that were kind of outstanding. And I'll start first. And one of the memories that I really have are Mr. Howard walking down the hallway with these squeaky shoes. And also, some other classmates and I talked about this before too, but I don't know if you remember Miss DeLuca. But she had her car, I think it was a Volkswagen, parked in the parking lot behind the school. Somehow the brake got loose. It went down the bank toward the river. And the kids saw it and they said, Miss DeLuca, your car is headed down to the river. And she goes, oh, come on. And then she walked over and almost had a stroke. The other thing that I wanted to, kind of as a memory and so on was John Kennedy's visit to the Great Towers in 1963. And the thing is that I somehow got over there. I never had a car in high school, so I didn't even know what it was like. But the thing is, I was able to actually hitch a ride with someone, and when I got over there, I stood by the rope line that they had, and his helicopter was at the top of this hill, and he had to walk down to the podium or whatever to speak. And he was shaking hands with like every other person or every third, fourth person. And he stood in front of me. This guy looked like he was 12 feet tall. And he was like bronzed, and I realized later that that was from an illness that he had and really not from the sun. But anyway, I shook his hand, and it was like, this is impossible. I'm shaking the hand of the president of the United States. And then 3 months later, I hear that he was assassinated in Dallas. And it was personal at that point. If I had never shaken his hand, it would have been really bad. But 3 months before, I shook his hand, and then he's killed. And actually, that was the first and last time I think I ever saw my father cry. But anyway, what I'd like to do now is I'd just like to see if some folks have something to share, just a memory from Fort Jervis High School. And I know Tom House has a story, because I was just speaking of him last weekend in Syracuse. So the thing is, if I can get him up here, he's not going to be happy. But
this is what you get for having lunch with me.
yeah, don't have lunch with me, because I'm going to put you in front of the whole world.
Well, this is Len Rodman. He was here. That's better. Anyway, Len Rodman's story. And how many here took personal typing in high school? Okay. Remember those 5-minute timed writing?
Oh, I'm so
And when you
bad.
made a mistake, it just screwed you right up. It stuck in your mind, right? So I sat in front of Glenn Rodman. And we're in the middle of a 5-minute time writing. And all of a sudden I hear this, son of a! And I look over my shoulder because I couldn't keep on typing. He's there shaking like this. He had ripped the baler right off of the machine. His father had to buy a brand new machine.
Wait, Tom, what about the Volkswagen story?
I don't know exactly what it was, 7th or 8th grade, but I remember coming in one day and nobody knows how it happened, but they got a Volkswagen on top of the gym roof.
Well, that'll remain a mystery. Anyone else have some memories? Folks, come on, you gotta help me out here. Don't leave me hanging out here. Mike? Come on, Mike. You don't mind talking to friends, do you?
Come on, Mike.
Come on, Mike.
Come on,
You're not gonna take a nap yet.
Jim and I and Cole, Bobby Quick, we took retailing with Mr. Gully. Now, I don't know how many of you had Mr. Gully in your class or knew of him. He had been teaching long before we got there, but we called him Harry. Yeah. He was a big man, and he was a very nice man. He was a good teacher, but he really couldn't keep order in the class. Quickie would catch a fly and take the wings off it, and then he'd catch another fly, and we'd have a race with the flies. We'd have a race with flies across the class. Paul Brooks, who I don't think is here tonight, she was in the class. Somebody put a tack on her seat one day. She sat down on the tack and jumped up screaming, and Mr. Gully gave the whole class a lecture how a little tack really didn't mean that somebody should carry on like she carried on. He was always late getting class. He was on the other side of the school, and he had to walk all the way over. He took our class after the bell. Well, the very next day, somebody put out 15 tacks on his seat. And Harry was a lecturer. He'd spend most of the class just lecturing, telling you about retail, telling you about his bottom 500 suits. He was a very well-dressed teacher. I'm short, but I was probably 1.5 foot shorter than I am right now, and I took his class. He was a size 46. And one day they talked him into, let Latini try your coat on, Mr. Gully. He could really model it. He put this coat on, and then he came down and was out here, and I'm turning around and everybody's clapping, but that was Mr. Goey's class. So the day they put the 15 tacks on his feet, he was lecturing for about a half hour. The class was almost over, and the man hadn't sat down yet. All of a sudden, he's getting a little tired. He goes over and he sits down. He never let a peep out. He never. His face got deep red. He got up to a tack still stuck in his But he didn't carry on like Paul. He just And then another time, he had fallen. He lived over on Mary Street. I left Sullivan Avenue. He fell down in the wintertime and broke his rib. And he had a cast on that winter. And somebody gets doing something in the class, and next thing you know, they yell, "Latini!" I just turned around like this the one day, and he hits me right over the head with his cast. The next day, they bandaged Jimmy and a couple of others. They bandaged me all up. We go into class, and I just went in and put my head down. The whole period I got my head down. The rest of the class are pulling their regular shenanigans. And all of a sudden, one time, somebody did something, and I turned around and started laughing, and he bumped me, and he hit me over the head. It was just
tell us about the rest of the next day. When you give it all bandage, you were had your head down. No, but everybody said, "Oh, Mr. No, you look like you did the Latini." And he wouldn't lift his head up. So he'd go over to Mike and he went, "See," and Mike, he got to keep his head down. Finally, Harry puts his chin under there, and Mike's laughing.
He was a good old teacher. I was home on leave from the Navy. I forget what year it was now, but the only family he had was a niece up in Deposit, New York. Deposit's right on the railroad on the way to Bennington. And he had gone up to visit his niece for the holidays. And on his way home, he hit a patch of ice, and he was killed in a bad car accident. I happened to be home, and I went to the viewing and the funeral. But he was a great guy. Just a man.
Did you carry on like that? I said, that was a legend by the time.
Okay, is there anyone else that'd like to contribute? Bill, didn't you mention something to me about Doug Austin hiding someplace in a classroom in the floorboards or something? Well, come on over.
Speaking of Mrs. Aloga, Dougie and I were in her homeroom, and in the mornings, Doug would hang out the window. It's a second floor window. He'd hang out the window by his arms. He always had a hold of him, so that if he fell, it was just his fault. But, he never caught on. We'd drag him up before she came, but that was Dougie. He was a good guy. I have a Glenn Rodderman story. That's okay. They had a language lab in school, and it was 4 rows, and you had a microphone and you had earphones. Well, I sat next to Rodderman, and he found out that if he plugged his earphones into my socket, he could talk to me through his microphone. And so he was telling me stories, very, very salacious stories. And I was laughing, I don't know whether they were true or not, but they were great stories. But in the front row, Marion DeMond looked around, and she looked like someone would look at a couple of naughty boys that were playing instead of going to church. And Rodderman mouthed, "Can you hear me?" And she said, "Yes." Marion heard every word. It was bad.
Anyone else? Take your time, that's okay.
My wife did not let me sit there quietly. I'd like to make two tributes to Kenny White. Kenny and I were good friends through most of high school. Les Fox, Charlie Philly, we were a group. And we were kind of quiet guys, so nobody really knew us very well. Until one day, and I think it was Priscilla Tabaka, was talking to the girls up front of the class about college. And she's talking about Vassar. And we're, of course, we're in the back and we're really behaving ourselves very well. Until she hollered and said, Kenny, what is Vassar? He said, well, that would be bigger. The other one is I'm sitting in a class, everything is quiet. If you don't get it, then look it up in the dictionary and see what I'm talking about. And I don't know if we were taking a test, but everything was very quiet, and I sneezed. And Kenny quietly said, God bless you, Dan. And I said, thank you, Kenny. You're welcome, Dan. Well, that did it. She broke up. She almost had to leave the room. A couple of fun things that Kenny in memory of Kenny.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? That's not good. Yeah, I just wanted to add one other thing from my own experience, and that's when Patricia McLaughlin, who was in my wife's class and my younger brother's class of 65, she became Miss Port Jervis. And on the headline of the Union Gazette was, Pat McLaughlin becomes Miss Port Jervis. There was just no way to live that down. And the other thing is that Pam Montleone ended up in my class ring because I guess her middle name was Joan, because it was your initials on the class ring. And mine was PJM, and her initials were PJM. So apparently I was supposed to be without a ring because it was her. So we finally got it straightened out. But some crazy things, and I remember in chemistry class, I was able to sneak out 2 test tubes with, I think it was like sodium sulfite and nitric acid. And before I left the cafeteria, I dumped them into a milk carton and put them in the garbage. Within less than 10 minutes, everybody cleared out because it smelled like rotten eggs. I don't know why I did that exactly, but then again, I don't know why I do half of it. But anyway, basically, what I'd like to hear from now, if there are any remarks from the committee, anyone have anything to say who's on the committee at all?
I have something I want to do.
Well, you're next, so.
All right. I actually have some pictures that were taken at the last reunion, and I lost the chip and I couldn't find it, and I finally found the chip just this past week. So I made up some pictures for some of the people, and I'd like to call your name and have you come up and get them. Okay? So Ellen Bennett.